Once you build your email list, nobody can take that away from you. A true fan is somebody that actually votes with their credit card on anything and everything that you put out there. I want people to unsubscribe. You know why? I used to take it personal before. I was like, man, what's wrong with those people?
Inside episode 4 of the All About the Music Industry podcast, I am delighted to be speaking with Billy Big Shot Beats. He is the founder of the Indie Artist Summit, one of the largest online music conferences in the world, the host of the Golden Voice podcast, which teaches you how to monetize your music. He's a producer himself with lots of beats placed in sync catalogs and so much more. But today we're talking all about newsletters, because one of the pillars of his amazing business is his email marketing system that he's built from the ground up to over 50,000 subscribers, and he can send out lots of different messages to his fans, his super fans, and his paying customers. This is an episode full of golden nuggets, so make sure you dive in and pay attention to this episode. I think for most musicians, bro, there are so many reasons why they need a newsletter. And it's not just for the fact of losing your social media followers and starting from zero, but having a consistent place that you can communicate with your owned audience and not your earned audience. For you, what do you think is like the number one reason why artists need to start a newsletter right now?
Well, one of them is something that you just mentioned right here, right? So we don't own social media platforms. So if it shuts down tomorrow, then you lose all your followers and you would have to start from scratch, right? But if you have an email list, the people that are going to be on that list, you're not going to lose them. This is something that you own, and you can just mention to the people that are on it that, okay, look, this channel right here shut down, and we can go on another one, or here's where I am now, so that you can follow me. Something that happened to me recently, almost 2 years ago, Instagram decided that they wanted to, shut down or disable my account. I sent an appeal. They brought back my account within 24 hours.
Wow.
But guess what? Guess what happened? 24 hours later, again, they disabled my account, and they said that for whatever reason, that I didn't follow community guidelines, and I wasn't doing anything different that I'm doing right now on my Instagram account, right? So I sent out an appeal. Until this day, the appeal never got back to me. There was no reply and everything. So I said, I was mad for the first day, but then the second day, I was like, you know what? Start from scratch. I can just email my list, let them know what's happening or what happened, and I can just immediately have them follow me on another channel, another account, another platform of my choice. And then this way, I'm not completely starting from scratch kind of thing. You see what I'm saying?
That's crazy that happened to you, though.
I know that, and I wasn't doing anything different than what I'm doing now. So once you build your email list, nobody can take that away from you. Your email list is going to help you build a community, right? It's going to help you build a fan base. But most importantly, this is where the monetization happens, because it's going to also help you find your true fans. And true fans for me is not just followers or people that say, oh, I'm a fan of his music, but they're not that deep kind of thing. A true fan is somebody that actually votes with their credit card on anything and everything that you put out there. And this is where the monetization happens. And you don't need a whole lot of people to live off of your music if you do that effectively and strategically, right? So once you in the process of nurturing and building relationship with people that are on your list, and you share value to them, but at some point you're going to sell something to them, and those that are going to vote with their credit card are going to become your true fans. And what you're going to want, business-wise, is repeat customers, people that keep coming back. So you're going to start noticing that is the people that truly believe in what you stand for with your message, your brand, the message that you're going to be communicating out there, that are going to be voting with your credit card multiple times, and those are going to be your true diehard fans.
Facts, bro. Facts. And I fully agree with everything you just said. I also experienced losing my account, SoundCloud. I was on 10,000 followers, boom, disappeared, had no email list. So that's when I learned that mistake. I also think we're at the mercy of the social media algorithms, that even if you haven't lost an account, your content's barely being seen by 2% of your audience anyway. So to get the message out, why not put the message in your people's inboxes rather than waiting for them to see your post? I fully agree there.
Yeah.
And we've unpacked so much already. I have so many questions. So many questions. I think, where does an artist start? So when they traditionally launch an email marketing newsletter, they're just sending people to, my new song is out on Spotify, go listen now.
Right.
That's a outdated strategy, I feel. And most people talk about a lead magnet, a freebie, a gift for signing up. What do you think musicians, not even music business people, but actual artists, what kind of freebie can they give away for their list?
So starting out, I think it all starts with leadership, in ourselves, right? And something that's really important that I see that is growing in terms of a basic fundamental concept that can help you create a movement around your music is building a community, right? A community around you, a community around your music career. So somebody that starts that wants to, build an email list can just be something as simple as giving access to a private community that you're putting around to give access to, some behind the scenes, showing your process when it comes to creative songs. Like come and, let's create a song together, including the people, your people in the process or the journey of you creating a song and stuff like that. Exclusive access to some music that you may have not released and stuff like that. So just, access to a private community for early adapters that really want to follow you on the journey of your music career, right? You're saying that, hey, would you mind that I sent over the link to the private community that I'm building, early stages? Eventually it's going to be something where it might become a paid community and all that good stuff, but I want to give you access to it right now as an early adapter with the movement that I'm creating. And you can just give them access easily by, asking them, okay, so where do you want me to send them? Where do you want me to send you the link? What's the email that you want me to send it to, so that you can have it for your records and get access to the community kind of thing. So it can be something as simple as that, to where you can start building an email list and you collect that information, but eventually it's going to have to be a way for you. You're going to have to set it up in a way where it's systematized, where you can just send them either a link and they input their email address, or you put it in a CRM, which is basically a software or a tool that's going to allow you to manage those email addresses in a more concentrated way, or in one place for you to manage everything. So this is where I think that a music artist can easily start collecting email addresses for themselves for email marketing.
It's different from where I thought you were going to go.
Where do you think I was going to go?
So
there's different ways.
I love this idea of community and fan base. And actually, it's more entry level than what I thought. I think the musician typically says, well, why would somebody want to sign up for my community when I'm not building anything? Where I thought you were going to go was giving like the stems to one of your songs to say, can you chop up these vocal stems in something different? Or giving an acoustic stripped back version of your song saying, download for free. I thought it was going to be tangible.
Or a free download of the song itself, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think the intangible and the tangible are different elements, but I love this idea of you're cultivating super fans inside your space. And that's the most valuable thing of all, like you said.
Right. So, I can mention, I was going to mention that there's different ways to approach it. And one of them is giving access to your song. And you'd be surprised. People would want to download your song, even though they can get access to it for free on streaming platforms and stuff like that. But it's a little bit more direct, right? And they would get your song in exchange for, their email address or the details, so that they can get immediate access to it. You understand what I mean? So from that, the communication can continue to where you can let them know your story. You can welcome them in your world in a series of emails. And then eventually, when you have new songs that you want to put out, or maybe you have live streams going on, maybe it's new posts on social media and stuff, you can keep building that relationship and keep coming back, nurture them, and keep that conversation going.
Yeah, man. I also think there's, not to go too deep down the element of licensing, but if you couldn't upload a remix, a cover, a sample heavy track, you couldn't upload that onto the DSPs, the email free download is a way to give it to the people without getting into the legality trouble. Exactly. And that's also an option as well. Is like, you're giving something away for nothing, and the nothing is the email address.
Exactly. And in exchange of that, it's an opportunity for you, the musician or the music artist, to keep that conversation going. You know what I mean? Instead of just stopping at the, yeah, check out my song. You can stream it right here. They go stream it, and then off they go to something else, somebody else, another song, or whatever it is, and then you can't. There's no way for you to control or to continue the conversation, right? So yeah.
So I have a newsletter right now. I've re-begun it after a long absence, where I call it the Master Music Marketing Newsletter, and I take TikToks and Reels and I diagnose which parts of the video worked well.
Okay.
So that's my style, and you have your own style, and every artist will have the him, her, and their own style. What is the first place an artist can begin to game plan? What do I email out? Like, what are the emails I'm sending to my community? Like, how do I find a regular thing to email out one specific day of the week? Like, where's the starting point?
So one thing that's important is, as musicians, we all have to be content creators, meaning that we put some information in front of our audience so that they can get to know us, see what we're about, so that they can, see what we got going on and everything like that. And email can translate to exactly that. What is it that you got going on today that a music artist can get some value out of? You know what I mean? You can start an email by saying, man, I was feeling this way this morning, and it sparked the inspiration for this song, and this is what I started to write. And then you do a post about this, say, on Instagram, and you go and you email a little bit of the story of how it started, and then you share the piece of content right there in that email. So you link it in that email for them to check out the post that you have on Instagram that shares you starting a song about this topic or this subject. Then it's just them, being able to follow you on the journey of that song. And it's gonna, in the long run, is gonna really help them with the anticipation and the momentum that you're gonna build around that song, so that they can follow it. And once it's officially out there, kind of thing, they started from just, getting that email to begin with, because they're inside of your world. You hook them in, and they're inside of your world. But it's you keeping that conversation going, and you had an idea that it was sparked. You shared it via email, you link that to a piece of content. And with content, you're going to have to make consistent your last name as a musician, right? I always say this, you know what I mean? Consistency is going to have to be key. And if you can show up on your pieces of content and on your email the same way, this is where, the nurture sequence, or the nurture aspect of it is going to keep going. And it's going to allow you to keep building that relationship with the people that are on it. If you're posting 3 times a week, for example, you send an email 3 times per week. Me, I would increase my frequency a little bit higher, because there's value that I can share to my audience. There's things that can help them with the beats, email marketing, and opportunities from other music producer partners or people in the industry that it can be of value to them, right? And it's just things that every day we have something going on, and you can have them be a part of this. The people that are on your list, you can have them be a part of this, at the same time being able to share value with them, with things that can help them with their life and your music at the same time.
2 things I heard you say that I just made me smile. One was that you really talk about this storytelling aspect.
Yes.
And the story links to a piece of content. So your email sequence is almost a behind the scenes build up of your song.
Exactly.
And so those who know stay in the know, and those who don't know just see a snippet on social media. And this is I've received the beat, I've added my vocals, I've got sent it for mastering, I've just got the first draft of the music video back. I'm loving the storytelling that can come out here.
Exactly.
The second thing was that I think most artists just got terrified when you said 3 times a week is too little. They'd freak out at that. And so have you got any tips for how you can kind of keep that frequency going? Do you treat it like a Twitter status? Do you treat it like a note to yourself? Like, is it a diary entry or a journal entry? Like, what is your comparison of like what an email feels like in another walk of life?
So if you really want to communicate with your people and keep yourself at the top of their mind, right? It really comes down to your leadership and deciding that, okay, you're going to be consistent at this, even though it's not content that you're sharing via these emails, but you're going to stay on top of mind. Like, oh yeah, I remember this artist. And then they're going to keep seeing your name over and over. And that consistency is really going to help them go back to what you've got going on, so that they don't forget you. You know what I mean? There's so many distractions and so many things that happen in this world that, can just have somebody forget about you, as simple as that, right? So if you're able to be consistent with your emails and you're telling stories that can help them connect with you as a person, so you can become a more likable person. But then guess what happens when they like you? They're gonna like your product, and when they like your product, that means your music. They're gonna be all more connected to it, right? So it's really a way for you to build that trust, right? Put that barrier down, and with that consistency, you stay on top of mind.
You're preaching to the choir, honestly. I very much agree that the tonality and the language choice in the email has to be very intentional. And I'm a big lover of personalization, where you can put at first name. So it would say, hey, Billy, rather than, hey, everyone. I love the aspects of personalizing the email so that the reader feels like they're being spoken to. How much does that play into your strategy when you put the newsletter out, if at all?
So for me, personalization is amazing. I don't always use it, because the way that I write emails is I write emails as if I was writing an email to a friend, and you don't necessarily always say, hey, Ayaz, or hey, Billy, in your emails, right? You kind of write it in a way that feels like you're writing to a friend. Basically, when you writing your email, you want to write it in a way that you actually speak, so that it doesn't necessarily feel all corporate or all professional. You understand what I mean? Like, you have to write it in a way that as if you're talking to a friend, and this way it's going to feel like, he's talking directly to me instead of talking to a group of people, depending on what the setting is, right? But for most of them, for me, personalization is amazing. You can even do something to where subject line may have their email address, or their name and stuff like that, or inside of the email. But I really like to write emails in a way that makes it feel like it's a more direct or personal email, as if I was writing to a friend.
Powerful, very powerful. Right. And then taking it one step further, like, how do you go beyond growing your newsletter list? So you've got your first 100 people. How do you scale from 100 to 1,000 and 1,000 to 10,000? What are those kind of steps along the way to grow the newsletter size?
So another one is, or a strategy that can be used to expand on that, is something that I've used in the past that was very effective. And you're gonna hear me say the words leverage, because when it comes to collaboration with another music artist, for example, or another musician that may have the same size audience of you, or even a little bit more, collaboration doesn't only come with the music that you're gonna make, right? So say, for example, you have another music artist that have a bigger audience. You guys do a song together. So of course, they're going to share their song that you made together to their audience, right? And possibly to their email list. And by just them checking out, oh, who's the artist that was on this song? And then they're going to come check you out. And somewhere along the way, they'll find something to get into your world as well. And it's going to help you build your email list too, right? But something that can be all effective that you can do around a project that, both of you and the collaborator that you did some work with can do, is some form of a contest or a giveaway, right? I've did giveaway campaigns that when we drop a post on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure that some of y'all have seen things where you see a post and it says giveaway alert, and then tag 2 friends on this post and make sure that you go to this website to enter your email address to get notified when we announce the winner, kind of thing. It's 2 of the audiences that are going to be connected to this contest.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, it's emails that once the people that are participating, or, that are submitting their entry for that contest or that giveaway, it becomes emails that both you and the collaborator that you do it with is going to be able to leverage off of. And that can exponentially increase your email list, keep that conversation going. And I've seen guys that added, in my case, there's one giveaway contest that I did with one of my good multi-platinum music producer friend that added 8,000 emails throughout the campaign that we did in a 2-month period, kind of thing. You understand what I mean? So this is something that you can leverage off of if you do something to where you're collaborating with a music artist. Yes, the music is going to have its triple effect, right? It's going to trickle, and word of mouth is going to be happening. Some of that, their audience is going to check you out, and vice versa. But then if you want to make it all more effective, you can put a contest or a giveaway around it. And this is where you are more in control of how you're collecting some information from the audience, and it becomes a boost for your email list.
Clutch, bro. As literally, I hadn't thought of it in that way, but now I see as you join all the dots. I remember the contest you did with Anno Domini Beats, who actually made the soundtrack that I use on the intro with one of the free YouTube music beats that they have. And so I can definitely see how once the contestant is in your list, then they just discover all the parts of your brand.
Exactly.
But does it only work if the prize is good enough? And the prize doesn't have to be money, but the incentive has to be there, right?
Yes, definitely. You have to, lead with value. It has to be something that they, of course, want. And, just imagine doing that with not only one collaborator, but just imagine doing that with, say, 3 more, so that in total, 4 of you are doing this, to where people are tagging to that post on all of, your pages combined, and then they all go to the same website. And then after that, it's just you sharing, the emails or the entry, the contestant that comes in, so that you guys can further keep that conversation going after or post the giveaway or the contest that you guys are making. So, of course, you're going to have prizes that they want or they're excited about. And you can make it so that there's multiple winners as well. You know what I mean? Like first place, second place, third place kind of thing. We even did things where there was like 10 winners. We share with value things that they can get immediately access to, like digital downloads, beat packs, courses and stuff like that. And then there were bigger prizes like, actual piece of equipment and gear and all that good stuff that make it all exciting. You know what I mean? So value is definitely going to be key in your favor in that case.
And I actually really agree with that value doesn't always mean money. So sometimes hardware comes at a physical cost, but music is just access. And like you said at the very start of this conversation, like someone's getting access to you, they're going to get access to one-of-a-kind beat you've never released before.
Exactly.
Right? And
unreleased,
so
right?
The prize can be non-financial as well. I want to make that clear. No one has to have an investment problem from doing this.
Right. Exactly.
How do you then deepen the engagement of a newsletter so that people email you back rather than just reading it and having a high open rate in the 40% to 70% range? How do you make them take action beyond just clicking a link, but writing back to you, booking discovery calls, or taking a decision to make action off the back of the newsletter?
As simple as it may be, it's just as simple as asking a question or asking to reply to the email that you send. Many times I do surveys to my email list, for example, right? So I ask them a question and I ask them to reply with an answer, and I keep the engagement going. And what that does actually for the algorithm of your inbox and the status and the reputation of your email address is that the algorithm sees it as an email that they recognize, and is going to increase your delivery of your emails, right? It's just going to improve that because they see that people are engaging and replying back to your emails, and they, the algorithm doing this as, they know, the people know about this person that is sending them an email, right? So it's just as simple as asking for a reply. Reply to this email, answer this question, for example, but then you keep the conversation going, right? Simple as that. A simple way on social media even to get more engagement is one of the things that I share even on some of my training, or even on my podcast, the Golden Voice podcast, right? I shared that before, is that the one way to increase engagement is to simply ask questions that in most cases would invite somebody to reply or to answer, right? So it's as simple as that. You ask a question in the email, or you have them reply to the email with their answer. And this is how you can get some engagement, as opposed to just sending a link and expecting them to click on it, right? So there's a percentage that won't do it. There's a percentage of people that's going to open the email. And what's important is your subject line, engages and, promotes that click. But then inside of the email, instead of just having links, sometimes you can have them engage. And then once they reply, then you can go to the next step of sharing what it is that you want to share, because they've shown interest and they replied and answered to the question that you've asked.
Well, I love that, honestly, because it really just shows that you have to be bold enough to ask the question,
Mhm.
B, you also have to play the numbers game.
Exactly.
Rule of 100 springs to mind. If you send 100 of anything, let's call it knocking on doors, 100 emails, 100 pitches, whatever it may be, only 50 of them even get opened. That would be a good open rate, I imagine, of a
Right.
newsletter.
Yeah.
Of the 50, only 25 will even read to the end, because a whole bunch of people open stuff but you don't actually read to the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Of the 25 who read, only 12 will consider taking action.
Mhm.
And of the 12 who take action, only 6 will do the thing that you're ultimately asking.
Exactly.
If you only ask 6 people, you can't expect 100 replies. You have to ask 100 to get 6 replies. I think, do you ever play with those ratios in your mind about, if I sell this much product, I'm going to get this much revenue in return, like approximately? Can you forecast the success of your newsletter after a while?
Yeah. So typically an open rate for emails, industry average is, you're going to get 15 to 25 people to open your email list. And then, you get between 3% to 5% of the people that open your email to click on the links that you have in there. So it may vary. We don't fully control and we can't fully predict. But off of that, I always act as if nobody's seen the email that I sent out. Okay, so this is a tip or advice that I got from one of my mentors. Act as if they didn't see it. Okay, so one time I was in a lesson and he mentioned that send an email out in the morning, say, and then later in the day you would go out and send an email to the people that did not open that initial email to make it all deeper, right? So you go really deep right there because, okay, maybe people didn't see it. Life gets in the way. You get busy. You know what I mean? So send it to the people that didn't open. And it's surprising that another percentage of people is going to open it. Another percentage of people is going to click on it. And this way you're going, a little bit deeper, and you can do that, a third time if you want, right? So one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and you send to unopens in the evening kind of things, right?
Wow.
And that the consistent right there is just acting as if they didn't see it.
And do you ever worry about unsubscribers, people going to leave your ecosystem and mailing list? Like, does that ever play a part in, oh, I'm going at a high frequency, am I going to piss people off, or is it valuable enough that they stay for it?
I want people to unsubscribe. You know why? Because, when you use CRM services, as your list is growing, typically you're gonna pay more as in terms of storage for the emails that you have in the software or the tool, right? So if somebody unsubscribed, I used to take it personal before. I was like, man, what's wrong with those people? Like they subscribe to my list and they're unsubscribed and stuff like that, but I actually do want that, because if they're, for whatever reason, they have no interest with what I want to share and they won't open my emails, and that affects your delivery. The delivery of your email is affected by, if a lot of people are not opening them, then they might not deliver all the emails to all the contacts, right? So you are going to want to remove the people that are not showing interest, not opening your emails, and that are unsubscribing, right? So you actually do want that, so that this way the communication happens with the people that are mostly going to open and engage and click on your content when it comes to the emails.
I'm so glad you said that. Honestly, it's showing very clearly that those are the fans you have, not the fans you want. So if someone's unsubscribing, they're not going to be a super fan for you. So it's okay to let them go. And it leaves more space to attract the people who do want the value you're sharing. And I think, like you said, you and I would both take that personally in our prior versions of ourselves. But now as we've grown, we've learned it's okay. There's always more people out there wanting what I'm sharing. I haven't discovered them yet. They haven't discovered me yet. Is that the philosophy you kind of agree with?
Yes, definitely. And as musician, right, we have to be okay with not everybody wanting to like our music, right? And it's the same thing with marketing. With marketing, we have to build that thick skin to understand that a percentage of the people are not going to take action on what it is that we want them to take action on. They're not going to open the email. They're not going to click the link. They're not going to check out our posts. Even on social media, there's only 10% of the most engaged people on your platforms that are going to get shown content to, and not everybody's going to see it, right? So we have to be okay with people not liking our music and things like that. And it's the same thing for marketing and for email marketing. I think that even better if somebody is not showing interest for whatever reason, because it's not going to be a true fan for us, like you said, and it's not going to equal to something that's going to support us and to help our business grow, moving forward. And something that I practice every single month when it comes to my email marketing game is I go in and I check, okay, who is it that didn't open my emails in the last 90 days? I take them out. I take them out of my CRM, right? I take them out of my tool. And then what I do is if I have a new promotion or something new that comes out, I actually put them back in again and I send that promotion and I see if they show interest. And if there's an unsubscribe from there again, then they're going to be completely out and I won't put them back in my CRM, because it's a spot that you're paying for over time. And you don't want to be wasting that for somebody that doesn't open your emails or that show no interest.
That is a fire strategy. Hard damn. Okay. So I think the last thing I'm kind of wanting to pick your brain about is how do you systemize, like, what day of your week your baseline newsletter goes out on? So for example, if an artist is want to just get started and they said, on Wednesdays, I'm going to send out my newsletter. Where do they begin with just that approach, and how do they scale it up from there to build the business like you have today?
It really comes down to a decision. That I have no specific schedule when it comes to my emails. And of course, consistency is going to be key. Repetition is going to show, something to be expected, right? And that over time is something that you're going to have to be deciding on. But once you decide on that and you stick to it, people are going to be expecting that email, right? Typically, I wouldn't necessarily call something a newsletter because it's a little bit more formal and it feels a little bit corporate. That's just my opinion. So I have it as an open conversation to where in some of the emails, I'll have an open loop that would lead to the next email. And I would say something like, on a Monday, I'll send an email and be like, happy Monday, new week, new intentions. It may be like something motivational kind of thing. And then I have a little bit of conversation. And then I said, make sure that you look out for my next email where I'm going to share 3 strategies on XYZ. So they're like, oh, I'm going to be expecting the next email, so I better be on the lookout kind of thing, right? So it's like open loop, just like soap operas, right? There's a thing that one of my mentors called the soap opera sequences, which makes it more of a automated sequence, but all the emails have an open loop at the end. And then there's another sequence where he calls it Seinfeld sequences, which is a little bit more of the day-to-day stories or things that are happening on a day-to-day basis that you are sharing to your subscribers or to the people on your list, and they stay tapped in. Like, there's news that happen every day, right? Sometimes you may schedule something out a little bit in advance, but you always want to stay on top of what's also happening today, so that they feel like they're getting something that's really updated and live kind of thing, right? So this is kind of my approach with it, but it's just a matter of you start and you decide that, okay, if I'm going to be sending an email out every Wednesday, you announce it, you stick with it. And then if there's a change that happen, you can be open to it, right? You just share that, okay, things are going to be shifting. I'm going to do something different. You let them know and you keep that conversation going, and that relationship is going to keep building and nurturing.
Okay. Now I hear you. That's fire. I think, I hear what you're saying about the not calling in the newsletter for the corporate word. I think my Wednesday email is that, though. It's not a conversation. It's an analysis of some content. I think I could improve at connecting with my community at other times just to check in. And that's a learning for me that I need to apply. I'm a huge believer in systems.
No, me too. Systems is something that's going to save yourself some time, energy, and money. That's my abbreviation of system, right? So if I can set something up that can give me leverage of time, I'm 100% with it. You understand what I mean? But when it comes to emails, something that I do is, say for example, my podcast, I have a new episode that comes out every Tuesday. So every Tuesday I'm going to send out something about it that's going to make them see that, oh, okay, so there's a new episode today that come out, and they're going to start to notice, oh, it's every Tuesday that it kind of comes out, even though I didn't necessarily set it. I said it maybe in the previous email or something like that, but for the new people that come in, they may be getting an email about a new episode, and eventually they'll start seeing like, oh, it seems like every Tuesday I get a new email about a new episode or a new text about a new episode of the podcast, so that I can go there and tune into it. So it's about deciding and your own leadership on that. so that you can move forward and be consistent about it.
My bro, you've dropped game as always. I love catching up with you, honestly. Thank you for sharing so much about email marketing. Thank you for sharing like your wider advice. I can always hear the self-development work that's gone in every time you like open up and share what you're thinking. It comes with this mindset and this motivation that is just so powerful. So thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
It's an honor to come on here. And, you know, I started my journey almost 10 years ago online. And thank God for this, because I stumbled upon email marketing and this fundamental concept of, you know, marketing itself at the early stages of my journey. You know what I mean? And I discovered that, you know, once you have this, it's the most valuable asset that you're going to have, that you're going to build over time, especially if you're running a business online. If we're talking about music, it's going to be all more effective. And like I shared previously, it's going to become something that you own, right? And an asset is something that puts money in your pocket eventually. And this is where the monetization aspect of everything is going to start to happen, because you're going to be able to sell them something so that you can identify the people that are going to be your true diehard fans, right? So I'm thankful to have discovered this at the early stages of my journey. And this is what brings us here today to talk about some of this with you on your podcast, and to your audience to get value from, and to go out and take action on.
Blessings, bro. Where can the people connect with you? Like Golden Voice podcast and all the website parts. Can you give the people like the where to go to best tune in to the advice you're giving, please?
Great. So, you know, you can easily find me on Instagram. That's where I'm mostly active for now, at Big Shot Beats _. That's a new account that I've been rebuilding, right? So Big Shot Beats _. And of course, you can also tune into the Golden Voice podcast, right? You can easily go to www.thegoldenvoicepodcast.com. That's www.thegoldenvoicepodcast.com. And this is where I also share a lot more of the, you know, music marketing and things that can help you turn the talent that you have with your voice into gold. So you'll hear live and direct on the podcast as I say it over here. And this is where you can get some more value and some more tips, advice, and things that can serve you and your music career so that you can get on a path to be independently successful with it. So that's my mission, man.